I am absolutely buzzing right now. First day of the Europe trip. We are here in Saint Aubin or Aubin, again these French terms, and we've got a good park up on the side of the road here. The beach is just 2 minutes across behind me in this direction. It's a beautiful evening. Going to go and explore the town, explore the coast. We did a bit of grounding before, a bit of barefoot grounding on the sand to tune into the lands of France. And I'm just getting used to these roads. I was a bit nervous, to be honest, coming out of the boat and then having to force myself to drive on the correct side of the road, because I feel like England is just backwards, because all of Europe on the right hand side, we're in the left. So my other side of my brain is now having to work to go on the other side. So I'll get used to it, but I'm so excited to be here. The Europe trip, my dream, is finally happening. I'm going to be travelling with my sister Athena on this trip. It was firstly going to be me solo travelling, but then we had a discussion and we decided that we're going to be travelling together. You know, it felt really, really right to travel with Athena because she shares such similar visions, so such similar lifestyle to me. So we're going to have some amazing months on the road, going to some mind-blowing places. I've got so much planned, and it's going to be transformative for our souls to go through this journey, you know, together on the road, and seeing all of these things, places, meeting people, and just living on the road, exploring, seeing new things every day. You know, this is a bit, like I said, been a dream of mine, and I can't explain how it feels to be finally on the road. I'll be making a lot of films about it because it just means so much. You know, my heart has been grasping onto this vision for the past 5 years, so to be here, it's just, I can't put words into it. So right now we are at the church of Saint Martin, and this is still in the Saint Aubin area, so the van is just parked up about 10 minutes in that direction. We've just walked past the site of a former spring, which I'll show you when we go back, and we're at a magnificent church here. Once again, churches 100% of the time are on sites of springs. The springs always came first. Just a reminder to my followers, I know I go on about it all the time, but it keeps needing to be reinforced that the springs always came first, and it's the same throughout the whole world. Now I'm in France, it's the same situation. And what a structure this is. The bells were just going off before. Huge structure. They would have once harnessed the energy in geometric precision. Sound, vibration, ether. This would have been on a specific energy site on the land. This is why the spring is there, because springs and ley lines flow with each other throughout the land on sacred sites. The springs are the feminine to the ley lines masculine. They flow with each other. They're living beings. I've got a feeling that this little chapel, because I always come across these structures, this was once been a spring inside of this as well. See how ancient the brickwork is here. This is truly ancient. Look at it, completely crumbling all over. I wonder how old this is. I mean, look at the bottom here. Oh, look at this brickwork here. Look how, I don't know if this is weathered or if it can't be an original, surely. That is crumbling like crazy. This must be, at first from a long way away I thought this was like a newer build, but look, coming closely, every part of the structure is weathered and crumbling, like really sandy. This cymatics everywhere, all over the structure. Can you see? Every one of these would have had a function when it came to generating energy and frequency in the old world. And then there's a huge one just on the lower part of the structure here. You can see as well, again, how old it is. So it looks, anyway, it appears to be very old. Look at that. You can see here the conductive metal going right up the church, harnessing the energy. It would go right up to the top of the spire, collecting where the ether is collected and then grounded to the earth. And you can see the wires that are all the way around the building, the copper and the conductive wires are still now being used, because look, the new plastic box So many people think, oh, maybe it's for modern electric use, but it is for modern electric use. But they're using the old technology already on this building. Why would they use anything else? The controllers, the elites, know that these buildings were harnessing free energy. You know, it's why else would you build a structure in perfect geometric precision apart from to harness energy? So remember, the ley lines and the springs are producing the energy below, and this is why it's earthed to the ground, and then the etheric energy above is what's being extracted. Just like the Ethernet we use nowadays, you know, these waves everywhere. It's no some sort of crazy idea, it's just technology that we use now, but they used it on the ancient structures. So on the top of the church, we've just noticed that it goes 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So all odd numbers. So on the right hand side of me, we've got the church that we've just went to see, and here is an absolutely incredible former fountain that I always say turned into war memorials, turned into, oh, the bells are going off on the church. So these were turned into war memorials, flower beds like this one, clock towers, and so on and so forth. You know, it is nice as it is with the flowers, but once upon a time the village women would gather, you know, men as well, children, women, and they would collect their water, enjoy the fountain that would be bursting out at the top. Each of these sculptures has different faces, so the fountain would have been flowing, would have flowed down into this part of it, it would have flowed out of the lion's mouth, it would have flowed out of each of the 4 lions' heads that are on the outside. The spout has been taken out, but the spouts are still in the lion's heads at the middle. And you've got the same symbolage that we see on all of the old temples. And then, as you can see at the bottom, we've got a new water plastic thing here that is still harnessing the spring water somewhere. So they're harnessing the free energy from the church, and they're harnessing the free spring water from the fountain. Amazing, isn't it? How they deceive the people when the sites are still here. That we need to bring back community to start acknowledging this and using this free spring water and free energy for ourselves. And there's evidence of water along there as well. These damp parts that I've just been to see, there's puddles of water, these drains with water under as well. So there's water still flowing. You can see the way the land dips in. That's where the spring's flowing. That's where all the greenery is growing down there, because that's where the spring water's flowing through, or possibly emanating from. And we see, there we go, there's the water. It flows then into that drain. So this is the ditch where the spring water is now, and the fountain is just there. It's amazing too, seeing these wild flowers. Like, these are dianthus. I used to work at a nursery garden centre for such a long time, and we used to sell these plants, and it's weird now seeing them just at the side of people's gardens, not in them, just on the side, growing like weeds. So about 6 months ago, I was in St Michael's Mount near Penzance, a place called Merlin, and I think that's how it's pronounced. And I said, as soon as I arrive in France, the first place I'm going to see is Mont Saint-Michel, its twin, on the Michael ley line, one of the most powerful ley lines. Actually, St Michael's line actually is 2 that goes through St Michael's Mount. There's one that then goes to Avebury to Glastonbury and across the south of England, and the other line then goes through where I am now at Mont Saint-Michel and onto the many other temples and chapels that are dedicated to the Michael line across Europe. So this is where I am now. My dream has come true. I'm here at Mont Saint-Michel. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you this incredible view. But there's a haze all the way around the sky today because they've been doing the trails, the planes, as usual. You know, when there'll be powerful energy coming off the sun at this time. We've still got a few days where there's clear skies, but there's so many days now I'm seeing this haze that when these trails spread out and create this artificial cloud layer over us. So we're going to do some barefoot grounding before we allow ourselves into the structure to get used to the energy here. There's so many people taking pictures, consuming. They're not actually acknowledging the pilgrimage, the true pilgrimage that belongs at a place like this, what this place truly is about. It's not a tourist attraction. This is a sacred site. People in the ancient world would be walking these ley lines. They would be walking, making a pilgrimage across the world. That's how long they would have walked for, how important pilgrimage was to them. Walking from places like Cornwall to France, to Italy, to see these sites, to pay honour to the springs, to the sites, to the sacred sites. That's how powerful these places were. And this is how far we've gone from our true roots as humans and connecting to these sites. You know, most of these people treat these places as tourist places. You know, it's not a tourist place. Like I say, this is a sacred site, and this is why I'm here. Mont will be covered in springs. This is why this structure is here. It's on the spring sites and the ley line sites. Is this a possible spring? It is the the overflow from somewhere in the structure itself. Then it goes down into the sea. So on the side of the wall here at Mont we've got a spring, and it has been shut off. But as you can see, the water is still trying to force its way through. Can you see where it's dripping? I've just tried my best to just try this water. All I want to do is touch it just to try it. But you can see it's not coming out the former spout where it would have done. But it's just proving me again that these sites are here because of the springs every time. Look at that. She presses the button down, and hopefully this is pure spring water going into this huge scallop shell, the symbol of St. James the Pilgrim's route. You can see a huge water tank just right next to this ancient tree as well. So there'll be loads of places where the people that are still living here and that know about the springs, are going to still be harnessing this spring water. You can see all like pipes and everything around here. You'll be harnessing the free energy too. Got all this sacred quartz layered, sparkling in the sun, charging itself. The sacred site is charging. Just like with the majority of places I've been to, I've loved to come here when it's not packed with people. Like, it's absolutely packed today. Didn't expect it at all. So maybe we can come back at a quieter time and tune more in with the land. You can see just here the remains of the old spring bath. As you can see, if I zoom in here, it's growing over now, but you can see the old rocks and the evidence of the water underneath these grids. They'll be covering it all up, but this is the old spa that would be using the old spring water. That would still be running somewhere here. And here is another huge, massive, deep well. This goes so far deep. I don't know if it's actually with water at the moment or it's dried up, but there's so many coins at the bottom people have dropped in. you know, people wishing well, you know, people know this is a well even just by looking at it in the subconscious mind, because all structures like this were filled with water. Another place I am at right now that I've always wanted to go to is the forest of brociende. I think it's pronounced. It's you know, these French names I'm trying to get to grips with. Well, this lake behind me is one of the lakes where Arthur's sword Excalibur is rumoured to be, alongside Martinmere in Lancashire, where I'm from. I think it's Bodmin Pool or something like that, Bodmin Pool, something like that in Cornwall down south. And then this, absolutely amazing. Going to explore this forest. It's got Merlin's tomb and a fountain, a famous spring, according to legend, is here, and I think you can go and see it. I don't know if it's running. I've not really looked too much into it. I wanted it to be a surprise, but this has just got so much mystery to it. This is a very prevalent in the Arthurian legends to do with Vivian and Merlin, and the French poets speak about this place so much in the Arthurian legend, as well as Sir Owain. I think he was to do with this place, and Merlin and Vivian, the Lady of the Lake, you know, very prevalent in this site. So what is happening right now is that Fontaine de Barenton is I presume the spring or the fountain, is 2 hours 49-minute walk from the Merlin's tomb. So what we're going to do is we're going to visit Fontaine de Barenton today and Merlin's tomb tomorrow. And so because it's a 2 hour 30 walk, I think, from here to Fontaine de Barenton or Merlin's tomb, so obviously we don't have time to go and see that and then do another 2 hours walk for that and another 2 hours walk back. So we're just going to go and do one today and one tomorrow. See, I'm not actually feeling like to speak so much in my videos of this. I'm just going to let the forest talk for itself, you know, with these little clips that I'm doing. Like this behind me was probably once a spring, but it's got so much personality still, so much ethereal energy, so much primordial wisdom. I have never experienced anything like this forest ever. I can tell you, even just 15 minutes into the walk, that this is original Earth, and the feeling is unlike anywhere I've ever been. This is pure magic, and I can imagine Merlin, someone like Merlin, being here. So I'm going to, when I go to the tomb, I'll probably talk a little bit, but I want to just take it in, and I'm going to just let the place talk for itself. What was really interesting about northern France so far is that so many of the places are named after a saint. So that means that these are places with powerful springs, because in my research now over the years, 100% of the time, wherever there is something that says saint, a village or town named Saint, there is a sacred spring, because the saints and the churches came after the springs always. But we're on a pilgrimage right now, it feels like, walking these paths to this fontaine nestled in this giant woodland. Amazing. If you listen carefully, you can hear a cuckoo. So what we're doing to find this fountain is following this symbol, yellow and red, and you have to keep changing different narrow paths to find it. It's so exciting. It's like orienteering, following this yellow and red symbol. So what's happened is that somehow we thought we were nearly there because we've been walking for about an hour and a half, and we looked on Google Maps because to put the fontaine, and we've got another hour and a half to walk. But we're going the right way because the symbols are still here. So I don't exactly know what's happened, but we've passed so many crosses on the side of the road. These were the old pilgrim markers. So as you can see here, it says yellow, red, and then the yellow is pointing to the right. So we head down on the right. So we've ended up on the road again, and we're probably going to now loop back round into a more wooded area. I don't actually know where this fountain is, but now we're in the countryside of France. We've got all the farms on the side of the road over here, and the sun is trying to come out. We come across stunning little French properties on the way. It's absolutely crazy, this walk. Like, we've been walking for so long, and now the sign has just took us through that overgrown narrow pathway, and we didn't expect this walk at all. But it's so incredible, this walk. Like, we're seeing so many places. Wow, so setting off at 4 o'clock, it is 7:11 now, and we've got the next full sign for Fontaine de Barenton, 6 kilometers down this trackway. So a crazy thing has happened. We walked for another half an hour, and we've got to a sign. Again, the yellow and red symbol. And this time, it pointed right in front of us, and there was loads of water gushing on the floor. We thought, right, we're so close to it now. And all of a sudden, the sign pointed to the next tree, literally pointed to the next tree, and it said X, no, it's not here. The next one said no, the next one said no, and there was only 3 paths. So we couldn't get to it. So we're so annoyed because we've been walking for 4.5 hours now, and we're having to turn back because it's getting so late. If we'd have stayed, it's going to go dark. We don't want to be walking in the dark. And now we've got soaking wet feet. We're tired, we're hungry, and we're going to have to now, tomorrow, we're going to go to Merlin's tomb, and then we're going to drive to the fountain. So we've finally got back. The van parked up here in the car park right next to this lake. Honestly, what a park up. So we are nearly at the site of Merlin's tomb, and there is so much information here that I didn't know. I'm going to read you a little bit about it. So this is a megalithic burial site dating from between 2500 and 2000 BC. Merlin's tomb has undergone many changes since the Neolithic age. It was in 1820 that Jean Comedamien Poignand concluded on the basis of his research that this monument was the tomb of Merlin, a personage he considered to have been a druid. So there's some amazing pictures here I'm going to show you in a second, but it also says about the springs here that I didn't know. So apparently brociende, the forest, is a hill on many freshwater springs. Among these, the Fountain of Youth, and it's particularly associated with the myth of eternal youth. Now that is likely the Fontaine de Barenton, I forgot what it's called now, that we were going to see yesterday, but we're going to go and see that tomorrow now. But there's also another spring here called the Fontaine de Jouvence, or that might be the Fountain of Youth then, because Jouvence is so that might be this one that we're going to see here. So I didn't even know this was here. How exciting is that? And it also says about the healing waters at the end. It says, essential for plants, animals and humans alike, water has symbolised universal life from before the age of antiquity. Depending on its nature, its location and the divinity or saint associated with it, as I always say, is associated with all kinds of virtues. So remember, the saints always are named after springs. Wherever there's a saint, there is a spring. Wherever there's a church, there is a spring. Cathedral, castle, there are always springs there. That is what we all need to remember. So it says Merlin's entrapment spell. With Merlin asleep by a hawthorn bush, Vivian, the lady of the lake, the lady next to us here, traces a circle around him with the ends of her wimple, a long veil of cloth. 9 times Vivian circles him, thus to cast her spell. In this way she entraps the wizard in a singular world, the world of love. Wow, so the fountain of youth, eternal youth, a universal myth. The fountain of youth springs from a belief in a fountain inhabited by divinity, such as the Roman nymph Juvetta or the Celtic fairy Vivian, the Lady of the Lake. Those who bathe from it or bathe in it will preserve or restore their youth. So it's just another ordinary day, another ordinary Thursday, seeing Merlin's tomb and then bathing our feet in the fountain of youth, the supposed site of the fountain of youth, right near Merlin's tomb. And this then flows down there into the woodland. So it was very strange. The route to Fontaine de Barenton in the car was like non-existent. The sat nav was telling me to turn left, and once again there was a gate that literally wouldn't allow any cars, any people walking to go and see it. So we could not see Fontaine de Barenton, even though we spent hours overall looking for it. So it was such a shame to not see that. So then we decided to just press on, and that was the end of the exploration around that area. So we see Merlin's tomb, the Fountain of Youth, and so much of that incredible forest, such sacred energy. So I thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you on the next part of this Europe adventure.